Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing well and thank you for watching this video. In today's video, I wanted to talk about homeschooling and in particular the benefits that come with homeschooling. I do get asked very often the reasons why we choose to homeschool. It's usually very difficult to answer in a short period of time. I thought of filming this video for those people who are interested in homeschooling or they are just simply curious why people choose to do that, and maybe if you are considering homeschooling your kids soon. So this video hopefully will enable you to make more informed decision. I will be making a separate video on disadvantages of homeschooling because obviously no situation is perfect, and hopefully that will be useful for you as well. In my current situation, we live in UK, and in UK homeschooling is legal. We have over 50,000 kids being homeschooled. The number is growing every year and more parents are opting out for home education, and there are many different ways to home educate your kids. Many parents view homeschooling very differently. You have a broad spectrum of opinions in this field. In United Kingdom, law requires you to provide the education to your child according to his needs and abilities. Home education allows you to do that. It does not require you to follow a national curriculum. However, you can use it as a guide, and that's where all the different opinions and ways of homeschooling come from. Some parents choose to unschool their kids. That would mean that child is allowed to do anything they want throughout the day. Sometimes all the kids do is just play video games. But in my view, home education does not fall under that category. It's just because it's simply unschooling. That means that you are going against the education as a concept overall. It's just a choice of parents, and all of us are making our own informed decisions, and all of us want the best for our kids. For some parents, home education means completely copying the school environment, so they even are ready to ring a bell at a certain hour, have lessons in particular order, particular duration. Some parents use flexible learning. There are a few main reasons as to why parents choose to home educate, not only in the United Kingdom but around the world. It's just because kids are being put in this structured, overly tested environment way too early, and many of us also think that this environment is unnecessarily restrictive and also in some ways time wasteful. I often am being asked as to why we homeschool, but at the same time I feel that not many parents ask themselves as to why they chose public school. It seems that this is a very automatic enrollment process where parents see that their kid reached a certain age and now it's the next step in their life is school. I would encourage every parent to stop and think about it, think about their decision, think about their other options that they have. Some parents go for public schools, some parents go for private schools, and some parents choose homeschooling. And as I mentioned, homeschooling can be very different to different families. So for example, some parents calculate what would be cheaper if they can't afford private school and they don't want their kids to go to public school. They choose private tuition. So they homeschool their kids on certain subjects, and certain subjects are done by private tutors. Families who can afford that, they are very happy in this setting because they simply can spend more time with their kids, and usually they are done by the families who are quite wealthy, who are business people, and they want their kids to be involved in that from early age. They want to lead by example. They want to see how they communicate, simply instill those professional behaviors in their kids. And I do agree that some kids thrive at schools, and you as a parent need to be very honest with yourself, really look at the situation and evaluate and really see if your child is really thriving and enjoying, or you just would like to see them that way and they are actually not. Some kids are more closed up and they like even individual attention, and homeschooling would be much better for them. Some, especially teens, could be experiencing school in a difficult way and maybe even get involved in some dangerous lifestyle choices, or even having suicidal thoughts that come with peer pressure and bullying. I encourage every parent to reassess their situation every year. Don't just make one decision to homeschool or to send your kids to public school. Reassess your situation, speak to your kids, see what they like, what they dislike, what they would like to do. At the end of the day, they are individuals, but obviously as a parent you have more responsibility, more experience in life, you are more well read, you know the options that are out there, so you'll be able to advise them accordingly. Keep that in mind, that even if you choose to homeschool, they can always join the public school and they can always leave the public school and again join. So there is no difficulty in that whatsoever. The very first benefit that I wanted to mention today is that you are going to give your child better attention than what they would get at school. Even if you have more than one kid, if you have 4 kids, it's still one teacher for 4 kids than one teacher for 28 or 30 pupils. Even if they have helpers and teaching assistants, it's still not enough of attention to a child. And during the class, some kids can be bored, some kids may not understand, but the class has to continue. I feel that the quality of education that you can provide to your child being alone at home is very concentrated, and the lesson can be finished in a shorter amount of time. You can be sure that your child understood the lesson. They can ask you questions and you'll be able to answer it for them. And another benefit of homeschooling related to the first benefit is that your child can work at their own pace. This means that they can learn a certain lesson in half an hour or in a couple of days that would be normally stretched throughout the term at school. Alternatively, you can pay more attention to certain subjects where they perhaps feel weaker. You can make sure that they learn the lesson. Unlike at school, they might be feeling behind and those gaps may not ever be filled in. Also, you can cover lessons that school covers within the whole term in just one day or in one sitting. If a child is really listening and asking you questions, that's easy to cover. You also can explore different ways of learning. Maybe they like to watch documentaries or go to a museum. One thing that I should mention is that I have a daughter who is 5 years old and we started homeschooling her at first. So she was in the reception year. We homeschooled her for 1.5 terms and we decided to send her to school. I will be making separate videos as to why we decided that. One thing that I wanted to mention from both of the experiences is that when I was homeschooling my daughter, we were able to start the activity and finish it. I can see that children cannot finish their activities that they have started. I saw that teacher would ring a bell and activity would finish, and the child can be really involved in the activity, really passionate about the subject and wanting to finish it, and they are not able to because they have to start another lesson. And so I think that this instills in us this quality of not being able to accomplish anything because we just jump from one thing to another without really finishing and really giving 100%, being present and involved and not distracted. I think the home education in that sense brings a lot of benefit because you can take as long as you want to develop understanding. Benefit number 3, that is one of my favorite things, but obviously it's just a side note. You have flexibility on holidays and you can save a lot of money. family in that sense. With school holidays, you have fixed terms, fixed holidays, so whenever holiday time comes, it's hard to get holidays at work. And if you are on a budget, then again you are suffering as a family, not being able to live a lifestyle that you could if you were homeschooling, because flight prices and accommodation prices are nearly half the price. Looking at overcrowded places with so many people, you almost lose the joy of holiday or any kind of day trips. I'm sorry for the change of lighting and camera, is just because my SD card became full and I really wanted to finish this video since I've started it. So that put aside, here is another benefit of homeschooling, and that is that you follow your child's interest. So you can spend more time explaining things that interest them. This theory is based on the fact that your children will learn more and have deeper understanding in certain subjects that interest them than what they would do if they were at school. At school, they might be presented with certain curriculum and they have to follow it even if they are not interested in that, and they might collect this knowledge about everything in little pieces. But when you educate them at home, you give them opportunity to learn more in depth of the things that they want to learn and the things that they are interested in. For example, my daughter, she was very fascinated and still is about the animals, and she wants to be a vet. So when I homeschooled her, we visited animal sanctuary, we looked up at some vet related documentaries and TV shows. We operated our stuffed animals and we looked at the type of organs different animals have and what common organs people have with animals. It was more tailored towards her interest. So when the child is educated at home, they can look at issues that they are learning about from different angles. They are forced into researching it themselves. So that also gives them curious mind, I would say, and the questioning mind that would not stop just by listening to the teacher and taking their truth for what they presented, and they actually question it. So that's amazing quality to have. Another benefit of homeschooling also is that they will not experience peer pressure or exclusion that is completely unnecessary in such a small age. We'll have enough of time to develop this unshakable confidence. One of the last things to mention, school setting is one of the most unnatural settings that probably exists out there, because when you think about it, when you go to work, you will not see people being of the same age, being from the same background. You will see everybody being very different. When you are homeschooling, you are able to take your kids to different settings and involve them with different age groups, and they can learn quicker through looking at the example of all their kids. And the most obvious thing is that you will be able to spend more time with your kids. This time spent together is so precious. Not everybody is able to spend time with their kids in such way. It's very close and very, very important in building memories and building that special bond with your kids. If you're able to get the support that is needed, I definitely recommend you trying it, and good luck with your choice if you chose to homeschool. And I hope that this video was beneficial to you. I'm really sorry the way it was filmed and the way it was set up. I just thought that I want to bring this real life experience back to YouTube, because I feel that I was being carried away with the mainstream way of filming the video, setting it up, and I know that it's not a real life situation. I was trying to keep up with that, but I really can't. So I feel that it's important to convey the message and hopefully to bring some kind of benefit. I hope that you take good care of yourself, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye bye for now.